Recording is on. Watch what you say.
Okay.
We'll talk bad about Steve. All right.
We won't talk about
So we can start today we're on the dashboards tab. We're in the strategy and planning dashboard. And Ron, jump in here and remind me of some of the drill paths and some of the things that we built if I forget them or forget to go over them.
Okay. All right.
I'd have, just to get us started, I've picked one portfolio. We've grabbed the insurance portfolio. So we're down to 1,300 projects, 28 ideas, 947 resources. And just to remind you, we know that because we can always tell where we are by looking at the current selections. Click the button, see what our current selections are, so we know what we're looking at. It may be self-evident to some folks, but it's, you can always check here. We have some similar filtering here. Technology organization, we can filter by portfolio name. We can go right down to a investment as well. And that's clarity language. Investment is a project, an idea, an asset. Anything is considered an investment in clarity. We can change that name if we need to, but that's why it's called investment name. And remember that you can easily filter these lists just by clicking on them and typing. So if we're looking for this Unix Linux, we don't have to scroll through the list. I can click the search bar or the button. I can type in Unix and it's automatically going to find anything that has the word Unix in it. Just as a shortcut, even if the magnifying glass isn't here, as long as this is the highlighted, these are called list boxes, so I can just click on it and know that this is the one that has the focus. I can actually just start typing and it does the same exact thing. So if you come across a list box and it doesn't happen to have the magnifying glass, you don't actually have to have it. It's built-in functionality. Just click on it and start typing. So that's an advantage when you have a lot of data and you've got this long scrolling list. You can just quickly find what you need. All right, so we're looking at the portfolio here. We've picked that one portfolio, insurance and whatever that was. And we're looking at all the investments in this portfolio. We're seeing both the projects in blue and the ideas in dark blue and how they are stacking up to give us the forecasted budget or forecasted dollars for these portfolios that are in this organization. So we started at technology organization, and these are all the portfolios in technology organization. Okay, so this is a drill. We can drill back up. Now we're back to all the technology organizations. We could pick a different one. Enterprise computing services. Now these are all the portfolios in that technology organization. So this is, strategy and planning. It's a different approach. You're not coming in by the portfolio. You're going to start at the technology organization. I believe you can drill. Yeah, so that's your drill path there. You go from organization to portfolio.
So when I look at the fast track on the side, the ideas, it says, I think there's a ton of them, the fast track. Yeah, where does that, what year, is that by years since, it seems so huge, that number.
3 million.
Yeah, but it's dollars, it's not.
Okay, so that was, okay. Yeah, that's dollars?
See the blue on the dollar sign just above it?
Oh, it's very hard to see. Okay, yeah. That's all. Okay.
So that may be all the fast track ideas from, that we're trying to load in. I'm not sure.
So it's 35
and that's what I'm trying to figure.
Total.
Data, we're not looking at dates here though. So we're not into the one IT thing,
right.
Maybe we should be looking at 2016 and see what that does to this.
Right. So if we went to the calendar, we could just select 2016, right?
Yeah. Let's do that.
Now you're at 782,000 standard, and it looks like 341,000 that don't have that type set. There's 12.
That's reasonable. That's reasonable for,
What is the 341,000 amount for?
Those would be
the ones that are not categorized as fast track or standard, so that they must be ones that were in there that that weren't identified.
Right, but okay. And how do we know which ones are those? Is there a way to check those, which weren't identified?
You should, I'm going to go off the reservation here a little bit, be able to click on that bar,
Yeah.
which gives us, now we're focused on those, and if we click on
Okay.
ideas over here, it would be these guys.
Okay.
And you can see they're not in a yeah, they're in a portfolio. This is the name. These two aren't in a portfolio, but this is them. And none of them have the idea type set. And only
341,000. It's all in that one idea.
Yeah, it's all in this one.
And it's probably not marked as fast track or standard, so that's why it's showing up that way.
Okay.
Submitted for approval, etc. Yep. So that's the beauty of ClickView and the ability to answer the question that Ron and I weren't smart enough to know you wanted to ask. But once you know how to navigate a little bit around the tool, you just click and go, right? It's like, well, I know I have an ideas tab over here, so let me select these ones I'm worried about, and let me go over here and I'll see them. And we quickly see it's just this one that's giving us this money, right? And then we can go back to Clarity and do what we want to do, or call whoever we need to call.
Okay.
So if I go back to my filters now, I'm going to get rid of this selection, which was this guy. I'll put these back where they were. We can see days and status. Today I am running this locally off my computer. I'm not on the access point. So like this functionality, you only get with the plugin. You don't get with Ajax, but you can still just click the button and it goes to the next one. So we have by priority, we have by work type, we have by approval status. Back to idea type. This is by dollars. We can always go to numbers if we're just looking for counts. And I'm not sure why this says 12 and this says 9. There must be 3 that are not in 1IT perhaps. This continues to add up to 9. 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 4, 8, 9. So there's 3 that are falling out of this chart for some reason. So numbers and then the percent, how many of them are standard versus, in this case, not set. Over 10 days, priority. So 77.8% is, I think ND we decide is not determined. Then we have low and high. It's transform.
What do you mean low and high? I'm sorry, with the requirements, Ron, what do they mean low, high for that?
So this is the idea's priority, the priority of the idea.
Oh, priority. It's very hard to read. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we definitely squished a lot of stuff onto one screen to try to give everybody just one place to go instead of having around. So there's lots of drill paths. There's lots of ways to get to the other data. All right, so we went through the charts. We went through this guy. Let's go back to the money here for a minute. Let's go back to dollars. So we're looking at the money here by the portfolio. We can also, so this is by portfolio, right? How much are we going to spend by portfolio? Another interesting view, because we have the time dimension, is to see this over time. Now we picked fiscal 2016, so let's get rid of that for a second. And you can see this is how the forecast budget and the actuals are coming in over time. We can also swap this from year to quarter to month by clicking this button. Why is it not working? I don't know. That's interesting. There we go. Quarter. We also have...
So those numbers, we can't read those numbers.
Yeah, when you get
back to that thing.
When you get into the... What's going on with this button? There's quarter. If you go to month, it's going to be even worse.
Can you mouse over and see those numbers?
You can.
No, up top. The numbers up top?
Yeah, that's...
Oh, I see.
That's
you just mouse over the column.
Yeah. The column will give you the column number, and then if you want the line, you just hit the dot, and it'll give you both. Actuals, budget, This is the forecast. This is the budget. Oh, that's the, sorry, this is the actuals. This is the forecast. And this gives you the budget.
Just a question, Ken. Is there any way to turn those numbers up like you do the dates down the bottom?
Yeah, you can't read that.
In other words, if you made the numbers vertical instead of horizontal?
You can put them inside the bar, but then the bars aren't long enough always to show you the number, so that doesn't show you anything.
Okay, so the mouse over is the best way to see it. All right, thanks.
I mean, we could take them off here. I mean, it works for the annual view, certainly. And I could arbitrarily divide by 1,000,000. What this does is it automatically scales for the what you put in there. So if I grab just these 2 years, well, it's still million. Let me grab just these guys. See, it went to thousands. So it's doing that automatically for you. I can't do that in this text tip up here. We don't have the ability to really monkey with this number a whole lot. I could take it away and just say you have to mouse over to find it if you think that's better. But in the annual view, you know, it looks fine. It looks okay. So
I would leave that to the users, you know. When you review it, Rose, you ask them how they feel about that.
Right.
the option really is show
because
it.
if you can mouse over it and see the number, actually, it shouldn't be an issue.
Yeah. Now, if you export, will the number be clear? Is it going to be, will it clear out when you export?
I would expect if you exported it to Excel, it's going to be fine because you're going to get a table.
Right. Right.
Let's see. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know. Sometimes in my Excel, I can't find my all my buttons are gone, but whatever. I know where it is. All right, let's go back here. So that, yeah, so the question would be, is it better to see them or not? And if we take them away, that's fine. We can always see them by just mousing over the bar. All right, so this is your over time view. And remember, you can always switch quarter, month, year down here. Let me go back. No, it doesn't matter. It's going to go back to year, but it really doesn't matter. There's month, there's year. So this tells you how you did, you know, year over year, quarter over quarter, whatever, which is a good way to look at things. But the end result is, but where am I going to end up, right? If I know what I did, plus what I say I'm still going to do in my forecast, where is that going to put me at the end if nothing else changes? So we have this cumulative view that shows you just that. So this is the year over year, but it's cumulative now. So this was our 2015 actuals, because we have actuals in the past. This is our 2016 actuals to date, plus remaining forecast. And it's cumulative, so it's adding 2015 and 16 now. And if we finish out the plan, which in this case is just a few bit of dollars in 17, 18, and 19, this is where we're going to end up. We're going to end up 184 plus 180. We're going to be at 384 and 180, 360. So we're at 360, and our budget cumulative is 239. So we're going to be over budget in this portfolio if nothing changes. So just to reiterate that, let me go back to this over time. You can see we've got 92 million in actuals in 2015. We got 87 so far in 2016, right? We're halfway through the budget for 2016. Our forecast is way over the budget for 2016, right? When we turn this cumulative then, and you see the little bit in 2017, a tiny bit in 18, and a tiny bit in 19. So when you look at this cumulatively, you see the big jump in 2016 with the forecasted number being above the budget, and then a little more in 17, a tiny bit more in 18, a tiny bit more in 19. The key to this chart is I'm taking these monthly things, I'm over, I'm under, I'm over, I'm under. Okay, that's interesting, but where am I going to end up? Well, if I proceed as planned, I'm going to end up way over budget. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I like this particular chart. I think this is really cool. It's cumulative versus this one tells me on a moment in time, but it doesn't add everything up for me. So that's these three tabs here. On the portfolio one.
So can you?
Yep, go ahead.
Can you click on a particular year and break it down more? So if we went to 2016, right? Can you? Oh, you just okay.
You can pick the year certainly, and it will filter to that year. But the breakdown's going to here changing the time cycle. So I want to change from a year to a quarter to a month, and a month is the lowest.
Okay.
A month is the lowest granularity we have. So there's your monthly view of just 2016.
Okay.
So yes, you can always focus in on the year you want. Remember, we give you everything, which may, in the end may end up being a bad thing because we're giving you a lot of data to deal with. But you can quickly, we feel you can quickly and easily drill into, all right, I want to focus on 16. But if I only gave you 16, then you couldn't say, yeah, well, but what does 17 look like? What does the whole portfolio look like? What's going to look like at the very end?
Okay.
You can definitely just focus in on 16.
Right.
So here's your 16 numbers, right, month over month. So forecast, actuals, budget. Okay, February, the actuals were way over the budget. They were over in March. They were over in April. They're under in May, but I'm not sure yeah, this is recent data. So now it's, it doesn't look like we're doing much in May and June.
Right.
But again, the key to this is, so what? How does all this add up? So the way it all adds up is here. Right now, we're right at the budget. Well, in June, we were fine. We were a tiny bit over budget. In July, the budget plus the forecast, the actuals plus the forecast is over the budget. In August, now we continue to go, the budget is rising, but the forecast is rising faster. You'll notice the actuals don't change, right? Because we don't have actuals in August, September, October, November, December yet.
Right.
So we're looking at actuals in the past, cost plan into the future, and how does all that add up? So I would spend some time on this chart. I think that there's a lot of value in here.
Okay.
All right. So in this portfolio, these are the ideas. The overview is the heat map for this portfolio that we're in. This is a drill, so functional team, ECS. What's above functional team? Oh, here's your line of business. So this is just like the other map, where you have line of business, and then you can drill down into going to corporate tech. Now we're into the functional team. These are all the functional teams under corporate tech. Okay. And the same thing we had on the other one. You can look at resources and roles together.
Go down one more, Ken. Click on the functional team.
I just got, I'm stuck on the WebEx. It's not. I got lost. So please check your network connection, but we're recording, so go ahead. I can't see.
Yeah, I see you all.
Oh, now I can.
Yeah, you're.
Okay, I'm good. Okay.
So the next click we're on just, strictly focused on that one. But it didn't give you any more information. It just narrowed it to this one.
Well, that didn't help. Click on the second one down, see what happens. Can you click on that again?
That just deselect.
That's odd. Now it goes back.
Yeah, if you're at the lowest level and you click again, then it's the same as deselecting it. It takes you out. But this is the overview. Let's go. Here's the details. Oh, so one of these, maybe it was the ideas. When you got into an idea, you could draw all the way into the idea. Is it now that we see details? It was. I saw it earlier. I thought when you picked an idea, which we've done, maybe that's not, it's an investment. There's only one idea in here. That's it. Let me just back up. There's another drill in here where you can get all the way down to the idea. So
I thought there was.
yeah, it's definitely here. I saw it earlier. We're in enterprise computing. This is resources. Ideas. Pick an idea. Huh. I'll have to get back with you on that. There's another drill here when you pick the portfolio or the actual idea, you got two side-by-side charts. 35 ideas. Maybe they're just not picking the good ones. Pick these highs. Testing, training. Huh. I'm not seeing it at the moment. I don't know why not. So we'll just have to move on. We'll try one more time. Come into the portfolio. Services. Nope. I feel like it's in this details one, but this one's showing still the overview. Can't quite explain that. Huh. Allocation detail by investment, so that's fine. It's this one that seems to be missing the drill. I don't have anything for that one. It's there, but there's no data. New business. Created date. These are all created by the system, it looks like. Yeah, there's definitely another one here that... Alright, I'm not sure what happened there. Also not sure why I keep jumping screens. I gotta look at that. Alright, what else do you want to know about this guy? This is your heat map. You can pick by year. You can drill through line of business. Everything else is pretty much the same. What's different is this main chart up here where you have a different way of drilling in and a different way of looking at the portfolio. You know, you're looking at the money and the accounts here. So from there...
If we could just go back 1 second, I just want to go over again on the left-hand side where we have the idea forecast. Again, what is that ND? I can't, I know low, medium, high is right above that. What is that? No, what is?
ND is, I believe, not set. So we had put not, I think we put not set there originally, and somebody wanted to change it to ND for no data, I think is what it stands for.
No data?
Yeah,
Okay.
it hasn't been set. There is no priority set on those ideas. So let's drop, let's go up in portfolio and grab, let's go to number. So we'd see these 18. We go over to ideas. Yeah, they have no priority. It's not set, ND.
Right, okay.
I think it stands for no data.
And Ron, the over 10 days is over 10 days of what?
In status. It's over 10 days in the same status.
Yeah, so with that, is that, how would they assume the user know that's what that stands for? Oh, it says it there? Okay, great.
Yeah, this one's actually titled Approved and Not Converted. Let me just look real quick and see if this is different than the other one. It does look... Yeah, so we're counting the ideas where the approval status is not converted or rejected. Not converted or rejected. Days in status bucket. No, I think it's the same. I think you're right, Ron. I think it's the same as this one. Yeah, ideas approved and not converted. Yep. I'm just questioning whether that's the same as days in status. 13 and 13. It's the same count. Yeah, it looks the same. Okay. What else, Rose?
So those are the ones not converted. Okay. I think that's it for this one. Dave, do you have any questions on this? Dave's on. I don't know if he's on audio. Okay. And Ron, this is one that Dave and Neil would be using, right?
The strategy and planning would be used by Bridget, anybody in the strategy and planning group, Neil, Dave Schmidt.
Right. Okay.
But there's also stuff in there that's valuable for the portfolio people, and there's kind of an overlap between these two. So, they might want to look at both of them, and for the information.
Okay.
There is crossover.
Okay.
We have some other work in here. We have 3 other work. Looks like not in any portfolio though, so that's fine. Okay, I was just looking around. Probably not one IT stuff. Gotta figure out why that thing. Let me make a quick note. Why this thing's jumping. Shouldn't be doing that. Jumping tabs. It's a little disorienting when you clear and then it jumps you to a different tab. It's confusing. All right. Again, Russ, I think your focus here is, pick your technology organization, do all your portfolios, as a complete group, pick a portfolio, and then start seeing what you can see from there. Here's your heat map, and make sure you hit, I like these buttons. I think they're valuable. You want to look at your budgets over time, quarter, year, a month, look at the cumulative number, how you're doing against your budget, etc. All right, since we're recording, do you want to back up and do a quick overview of this one?
Sure, please. I'd appreciate that.
All right, let me get rid of this stuff. This is where I was trying to find ways to get to the one IT today. All right, so this is more about the portfolio manager and how he might come in. So I feel it's a little bit lower down, not as high up as the strategy and planning one was. Same things up here, same things over here. All this functionality here is the same. This left-hand tab will always be the same across all the different tabs. The filters might change to reflect what's showing on the screen, but you're going to get to them the same way. The calendar might, in this case it doesn't, but maybe there'd be a different calendar if you're on a resource analysis tab. It might be the resource calendar, not the fiscal calendar. Don't forget about the bookmarks, because we like letting the people know once they pick a certain thing, they've drilled down to the level that they like, they can set a bookmark or as many bookmarks as they want and return to those quickly and easily just by coming in here. They would show up in their list.
And I assume once they add it as a bookmark, they can title it what they want as well, right?
Yes, indeed.
So, click on bookmark. Yeah,
I can show you quickly. If we do, we're a portfolio. Let's say we pick a functional team, and I'm interested in portfolio managers, and employees, not contractors. Is that going to order that? Forecast or budget? Let's pick employees only. Okay. And this is the view I like, so I don't want to have to make these 4 selections every time I come in. And maybe I only care about 2016 right now. Well, here we go. I've made 5 selections. This is where I want to start. I don't want to have to do this every time. I'm going to go to the, let's say, add a bookmark. I'm going to call it ECS 2016 only. I'll save it. You don't have to worry about any of those other settings. And now if I was to clear everything out, do some other analysis and go, oh, what was that other thing I was looking at? I want to go back there. Let's go up right here. And as soon as I click it, I get all my settings back. So it's really just keeping track of these filters. It's not, you know, the end of the world, but it's just like a bookmark in IE. It just stores what you got at that moment and you can come back to it.
Yep.
Nice and easy, but very powerful. I'm going to take that one out so it doesn't end up in your master by mistake. Cycle groups here.
I'm sorry, back to the bookmark. Can you share a bookmark? Can users share a bookmark?
Yes. So there's quite a lot of sharing capability in the tool. We don't usually cover that until later on, you know, as a second training. But you can definitely share bookmarks with other people.
Okay.
All right, so we're just reviewing. We have the portfolios here, forecast versus budget. We buy their approval status. We have this again, count dollar and percent of the total. We can do this for labor versus non-labor. We can go to priority. So it looks, this is going to be the same as what we just saw for strategy and planning. Here's work type, status, days and status. So have we picked? No, we haven't. Let's pick a portfolio. Let's see if we can come up with something interesting. Let's go to this enterprise. This is a big one. Let's come over here and let's see. So in this portfolio, there's 35 ideas, 13, 14, 15, 16, 21 ideas, and there's 13 transform. You know, so this is a pretty interesting view, in my mind, of all the ideas that are in there right now. You know, what are the work type? They're mostly transform. You can look at their priority, 18 not set, and we can also see that 14 are submitted, 5 are unapproved, and 2 are incomplete right now. So that's, you know, again, just some of the things you can do by clicking around if you know where to go. Here's our heat map. We have the roles only, the resources only in both. Here's our spend by transaction class. Managed services, fixed price, consulting, contractor, etc., forecast, and budget. So this view is intended to be specific to a portfolio and for a portfolio manager. You could pick your portfolios from here, or if you're a portfolio manager, you could pick yourself with all the portfolios that you manage. Okay, so any questions about this one?
And this was the dashboard that we were going to add a column for resources, right? You have specific resources?
Yeah.
And we drilled down?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
And so there's anytime you have this arrow here, remember this is a drill of some sort. So we can actually drill into transaction class and get to the resource class, which is your level below transaction class. So software, we have amortization, depreciation, and purchase. Under hardware, we have the same thing. So these are the details, right, of your cost plan. Under contractor, on-site, offshore, etc. So we're pulling this from the financial plans they're building, the cost plans they're building in Clarity. And you're building them by resource, by transaction class and then resource class. So this is how you can see them. All right, and then lastly, do you want to go into the data extracts, or is this mostly what you're going to cover with the group that you're dealing with?
Just another question. So, Ron, the ones I see the not used, where we have employee software not used. Is that because someone put something there for not used for an old
Yeah,
Yeah, they're old things that are in Clarity.
yeah, and I mean, is it realistic that there's 1,400 projects in this ECM?
Seems like a lot.
Well, you're looking at all the time frame, right? You're looking at all those years, aren't you?
Yes,
You're not filtered on years.
correct. Let's just look at 2016,
That's possible.
and it's just a tiny bit. There's not a lot of money out here. If you look at these, do not use 500. Well, it's not an insignificant amount of money, but 500,000 there, less than $1 million.
Get the ammo back and change the transaction classes.
Yeah, this could go into our data integrity.
Exactly. Yep.
Is it possible, and I'm guessing it is, I'm just thinking that maybe a lot of these projects are not active?
What are we pointing to?
Yeah, well, that's why I had asked that question yesterday. Can we decipher on active versus inactive projects?
How do we know what it's filtering on, what it's bringing in?
Right.
Well, it's, you know that just from looking at the filters, so because it's not doing that, you're getting everything. So if we take this guy, this is our active, inactive. I'm just going to throw him over here to the off the screen for a second. Which I can't even see. Bring it down here. And I can throw on frequency. So yeah, there's 300 inactive investments in this view. So if we pick the active only, yeah, that cleans things up quite a bit. So that,
How do we filter on the active and inactive? How did you do that?
well, currently the way
I don't think we should be looking at inactive at all. I think that should be part of the basic filter. You know, in our bookmark, we should only be looking at active stuff. Don't you think?
Well, couldn't there be a inactive project in an active portfolio that still has active projects if you wanted to see that maybe finish mid-year? Oh, no, we still keep it active, though, Dave,
It'd still
right?
be active. Yeah, it'd still be active.
yeah, that's really a question about your process. When you're looking at actuals in the, you know, would you ever have anything on a old project? I'll just call it an old project. Well, the question is, when do you deactivate your projects? That's the question.
Right. Dave, when do we deactivate projects? Is it throughout the year or is it just the end of year?
It used to be end of year, but
That's what I thought.
We're supposed to be doing multi-year projects now, right? So we might not even be. But I think technically, if I think Doug sends out a list, and then we go in and just turn them all down.
I think yes. I think that's what we did. I just pinged him, but I think that's what we did last year. So if that's the case, and I think what Ron is saying that we don't need to look at inactive, I don't know. That's a question for the users. But I would tend to agree with Ron.
I think it's
Thank you.
I tend to never agree with Ron. No, I'm just kidding.
It was the first time, Ken.
Ron says black.
Yeah. So,
If
Doug just
it's really
Doug just replied to me. He said end of year. Generally, end of year we inactivate projects.
so as long as you don't have any multi-year portfolios, you'd be fine. But if you're, yeah,
Right.
this is really a process question, right? It doesn't matter to me. I can make it do whatever you want, but I'm just trying to get you thinking about the impact of the change and what it's going to do. So if at the end of the year
Right.
you activate everything and that's the end of those portfolios and you start new ones next year, then we're fine to say only always active. If you're looking at a portfolio in 2017 and you want to include the 2016 numbers and you've deactivated those projects, then obviously filtering on active only, you wouldn't be seeing the complete picture. So it just depends on how you're using that flag. It sounds like we could go with only active and you'd be fine. But I'll do whatever you want. I just want to think that through. And we could, the easiest thing to do right now, I think, would be to add a bookmark. So on all these other tabs that we've hidden, if you went to the investments tab, you'd find this under the filter section where it'd be very easy to see and come back. But we've so restricted everyone on purpose to have a very focused view. I don't have this attribute out here for you to pick.
Okay, that's my next question, if we would be able to get that. Okay.
You know, we didn't even give you My View tabs right now. So My View tab is your sandbox area where you can go and do whatever you want. So given the My View tab, you could go over there, add this field like I just did, use it, and then come back. Because now that we've set this, it's going to hold for every tab that we go to. Even though we can't see it, it's still there, but we can't see it over here. So, you know, you can set it in one place and then navigate your way around. We can make this the starting bookmark. I'm thinking maybe as the interim is we make a bookmark, I turn this on, we set that bookmark. It's not going to hold though. It's only going to work the first time you come in. What Click does is it remembers where you left. So if somebody was to clear it and leave when they came back in again, it wouldn't reset them back to active only. It would always be under the bookmark. They could always pick it. So it certainly helps to have it. It's not perfect, but it's a lot better, I think, to have it as a bookmark.
Well, to have it available somewhere,
Yes.
right?
Yes, definitely. I mean, I can add it to this filter section, but I like Ron's idea of it being there. You know, it's really easy to get to. So let me just demonstrate that real quick for you. So let me take this out. Would you also want, Ron, maybe to start them looking at 2016 only? So they don't have to remember to pick 2016?
I think so, because they're going to be using this for planning for 2017, and that's the 2016 data. So
yep, I agree.
Yeah, so I do have a concern doing that, which I'll describe in a second. So let me go ahead and put this bookmark in. I'm going to add a bookmark, and I'm going to call this Active Projects Only. Let's do this. Let's call it Start. Active Projects Only. I found that to be very useful. And if I save it this way now, this will be how it starts for everyone. So now that actually lightened up the load of the, well, they're still all in there, but we're seeing a lot less projects now. It went from 9,000 to 2,000. So I'd like to tell the harvester, don't even harvest the inactive projects, and that would cut us from 9,000 to 2,000 projects. That would really limit the amount of data we're loading up and speed up the application a lot. But we'll cross that bridge soon. So here we are, we've got the active investments only. I think this is a good place to start. If anyone was to do a bunch of clicking around and hit clear all, it's going to pull this out, but they can easily find it by going back to their bookmarks and just, you know, clicking on it again. I could go one step further, just talking out loud, and I can lock it this way where they can't undo it. I'm not sure we want to go that far. If I lock this setting, yeah, I've locked it. See, now you can't clear it. And now when I do clear all, it's still going to stay there. So you can give that some thought. Tell me if you think locking it is the way you want to go or not. That would just force that always to be on. But you don't have to decide that today. You can maybe it'll come up, Rose, during the training, and if you know you keep clearing and then having to put the bookmark back on, and somebody says, "Well, I wish you could just keep that on forever," the answer is we can do that.
Okay.
All right.
And then regarding the year, set in the year, as Ron said, to 2016, you said you had some concerns with doing that?
Yeah, so in the standard dashboard, we would not put a financial chart and a resource chart on the same page. And this is why. Everything's interconnected. So when I pick a particular set of projects, I'm now looking at the people that are working on those projects, which as a project analysis, that's what you want. I want to go to my projects, I want to pick them, and then I want to see the people on those projects. When you're doing resource analysis, though, you want to see the complete, usually you want to see the complete picture of that person. So if I've done a bunch of project analysis, and then in my mind I want to switch over to resource analysis, I need to clear my selections and really start over. Because if I picked a bunch of projects, this is going to update to only show me the people that are on those projects, which is a valuable view, but it's not the complete view of this person. So if I want to back up and say, yeah, but does Ron have any capacity to work? I want to make sure I haven't selected any projects. Because if I do that, now I'm only looking at the projects he's on. Does that make sense?
Okay.
So when I pick 2016 as a financial year, I've said only show me the projects that have numbers in that year. So I've filtered down to a set of projects, and then my heat map's going to change to only be the people that are working on those projects that I've picked. So I'm a little reticent to force this selection. I mean, we can see if we pick 2016 in the so okay, let me tell you one other thing that's important to know. This calendar is a resource calendar. This is based on people's allocations. So when I pick 2016 in this resource chart, I'm saying show me the allocations for 2016. When I pick 2016 in a financial chart, I'm saying show me the cost plans in 2016, right? And they don't necessarily evenly cross. So you get different results depending on the different calendars. The simplest way to explain it is you should use the financial calendar when you're doing financial analysis, because that's what the calendar is built from. It's built off of the cost plan start and finish dates. And you want to use the resource calendar when you're doing resource analysis, because it's built off of the allocation dates. Okay, but they'll do different things. When I pick the resource calendar 2016, I'm going to see all the people that are allocated to projects in 2016, and I'm going to see those projects. That's my resource manager analysis. When I pick the financial calendar for 2016, I'm going to see the cost plans for 2016 and the projects that have cost plans in 2016. Then I'm going to see the people on those projects.
I don't see anything wrong with that.
There's nothing either. I don't see. Okay, so you don't.
You're looking at it's different slices of data, and if you're looking at financials, you want to see what's got a cost plan. If you're looking at resources, you need to know who's working in that year. So
Absolutely.
I don't see the conflict there.
So the conflict is that when I pick, so here I have 2,162 projects, right? And this map is now all 2,000 projects, all 4,500 resources. Well, all the active projects and all the people. When I picked 2016 financial year, I dropped to 1,641 projects. Because apparently there's about 500 projects that don't have a cost plan or actuals or a budget in 2016. When I dropped that 500 projects, I also dropped a whole bunch of resources. Because I'm picking projects now, I'm only seeing the people on those projects. So this heat map now is not a whole look of the entire pie for these people. It's a look into these projects because I picked some projects.
Show me your filters. What projects did you pick? Show me the filters.
Okay, so here I've started over, so I only have active investments. So I've gone from my 9,000 projects down to, down.
And that's fine.
Right.
That's good.
I know, I'm just
But you said you selected some projects, and I don't see where you selected projects.
Right. So when I went to the and I'll come back here in a second. When I went to the financial, so you see, I have all these. My span of time right now for financials is 2012 through 2020.
Yeah.
When I picked 2016 only, this number just dropped from 1,641 from 23 whatever it was 2,100 projects.
And I would expect that because a lot of those projects are done in prior years.
Absolutely, and it works perfectly fine to do financial analysis. But what it's also done is it's changed my resource view. Now I'm only seeing the resources that are attached to these 1,600 projects.
That's fine,
Okay.
because they're not working on anything else. If that's all the projects that are in there, that's all they can be working on, right?
These are, if they're working on a project that doesn't have a forecast, a budget, or any actuals in 2016, we wouldn't see that in the heat map.
Because you clicked on finance year?
Yes.
So you're not clicking on just the year, you're clicking on finance year.
Well, the financial calendar is built off of the range of dates in the forecast, the budget, and the actuals.
And so there's not a resource calendar. There's only a financial calendar.
Well, there is also a resource calendar, which is this one that's attached to the resource chart. So it's just two different ways of starting.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Don't pick the financial year filter. Go to the LOB and click on this 2016 you're pointing to. That's the one that's going to tell you where your resources are.
Exactly. You got it 100%. And the only confusion is going to be if we start them by picking financial year, we've already taken them down the project analysis path. And if
I see what you're saying. All right, I got it now.
Okay.
I understand.
Okay. Does that, Rose, do you and Doug, you get it?
Yes.
Okay.
It's separated.
It's two different calendars for two different purposes. They both serve their correct purpose. And
well, when you click on where you are now, Ken, click on the resource calendar 2016. There it is, resource year. Okay.
Yes.
That's what they need to be looking at.
Yes.
Yep.
And now we've got a little bit different number of projects because now we're filtering on, show me these people, show me all the allocations for 2016 and all the projects that people are on. So we have some projects that went from 1627. So we have like 500 projects that nobody has allocations to in 2016. Well, what are they? Well, it looks like we have some 2012 actuals probably. These are probably actuals. Here's a project that's active that has something back to 2012, probably actual.
Can we use this to clean up the data?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And data, one of the biggest negatives is that stuff's going to jump out at you. If you have a data quality, and maybe it's not a problem, maybe this is correct, I don't know, but it's going to jump out at you because, why do I have 2012 here? Well, there's got to be something in the data back to 2012, and it's this, so here it is. So what would we do from here?
Well, we could put a developer on this or somebody that can clean up the data and just start going through this stuff and identifying it and maybe making a difference. Yes, definitely. So we know it's a project. How do we get to the projects? This really shows us ideas. There is a view, would be here. How do we know what project this is to go clean it up?
Right.
Well, I'm not sure that was a part of the dashboard that we built. What do we have under data quality right now? Object record, object project, resource data, team data quality. This is not going to help you. Do we have anything under the data extracts? Project? the easiest thing for me to do. Let me actually stop the recording because I think we've gone far enough. You're going to end up with a massive file that you're not going to want to deal with.